If I can have your attention here in the Media Center, welcome here to Dover International Speedway for a fine weekend of NASCAR action. We're going to start off today's Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series media availability with Jimmie Johnson, driver of the number 48 Lowe's Chevrolet, a 10-time winner here at Dover International Speedway, and attempting to become the third driver in NASCAR history to have 11 or more wins at a racetrack. Jimmie, I know before we get into the racing, you had Fit Fest on Memorial Day. Have you recovered from that yet, and how did that experience go for you?
Yeah, I'm slowly getting back. It's amazing how far I wore down my battery through the 600-mile race and the 4-hour mountain bike race the next day, but very well attended, very well supported, and a lot of money raised for the public education program that my wife and I are supporting. So huge thanks to those that came out and participated, spent their Memorial Day with us. We look forward to growing that event for years to come.
That's outstanding. We're going to open the floor for questions. Raise your hand. We'll get a wireless mic to you. We'll start with Claire and then go to Reed.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. Two quick things. One is, why do you think you're so good at Dover that you've had 10 wins and you're hoping to break the record with 11? And then can you expound on the "they didn't tell me to save gas" last weekend at the Coca-Cola 600?
Well, first on that, they did tell me to save gas. I just wish that I knew from the beginning of the run. It's tough to make up a lap on fuel mileage, and our opportunity didn't develop until everybody hit pit road, and it's just hard to save enough gas from that point forward. So I knew halfway through the run. I just wish that I had an inclination at the start of the run. I think I could have made up that really about a lap, because I could have coasted for a while too and maybe got to the start-finish line first. So I definitely knew. I think the 3-car, it was their plan from the beginning, and that's why they made it. So that was what I was referring to there after the race in Charlotte. Like I told Chad after the race, I'm happy he was swinging hard. We have 2 wins. There's nothing like winning at home. And in the previous scenario with where we restarted, 4th or 5th was going to be our call. The best that we could get in the way that final run was going to unfold, and I'm happy he took a chance and tried to win the race. Here, there are tracks that fit a driver's style and a team style, and I think because of how much success we've had here, this is a track that fits Chad's style and mine. The car dynamics and how much the car moves around, the way it launches into the corner and lands, and then you turn around and fight through all the banking that it has and then launch back up onto the straightaway, takes me back to my roots and really challenges the crews and the crew chiefs and engineers to make the car comfortable and secure. So I just think that the challenges this track throws at a team just fit us really well.
Go next to Reed, then to Tom.
Reed Spencer with NASCAR Wire Service. Jimmie, you won your 7 championships with a schedule that had only minor tweaks in the playoff from year to year. I'm just curious as to what your reaction was when you saw the 2018 schedule.
Was there big changes besides the Roval?
Well, the Roval and Richmond in, Chicagoland out, that sort of thing.
You can tell I've been paying attention. I don't care where they are or what we do. I'm ready to race, and I think this team can win regardless of where those events are held. I think the Roval stands out the most. I mean, that's the biggest change in my opinion. We'll take it as it comes, and I guess I've just been so hyper-focused on this year and what we have going on. And I know that our sport is going through a lot of change, so I'm not surprised. I feel like there's a lot of excitement with other forms of sports due to the fact that playoff events change and move around and locations change. So in driver council meetings that I've been a part of and conversations that have taken place, I've kind of sensed that change was coming, and I've been for it, and been for it mainly because of the excitement it can bring to the fans and to our sport, and much less about how it pertains to the 48 car. If I could have a voice, I would say the 10 chase races are all right here, and then that would benefit the 48 the most.
Could double your win total
real quick.
Let's go to Tom and then to Bob.
Hey, Jimmie. There have been a number of upset winners already this year with Ryan Newman, Austin Dillon, Ricky Stenhouse visiting Victory Lane. Do you guys pay attention to that at all, and do you think we're going to have a much different mix of drivers in the playoffs this year?
I do notice, and I'm very happy for these guys to get their first. Stenhouse has been an amazing talent and came in with a ton of momentum from his Busch Series or Xfinity Series championship. You know, Ryan's a winner. Ryan's, you know, won plenty of races. You know, it is very good in that scenario that he had at Phoenix. So it wasn't necessarily a surprise to me. I think he had another win or two there in a similar fashion, and happy for that company. Austin's been a proven winner in the other divisions. So I haven't looked at it in a sense other than it's exciting to see these drivers get there first and companies win that should be winning. So I'm excited for the conversation it's created in our sport, but I can say there is a conversation of drivers that you know, would hope to make it in on points. That the wins from these drivers kind of changes that dynamic and forces their hand and forces them to go to victory lane potentially to make the first 16.
We'll go to Bob, then to Dustin, then to Kelly, then to Jerry.
Bob Pockers, ESPN. At Charlotte, it seemed like you were in the middle of all the Gibbs drivers. They had struggled, it seemed, earlier in the year. Do they look like that they're back on their game?
Man, it's so hard to count anybody out. It wasn't long ago where everybody thought that we weren't going to win again, and you know, we've dispelled that. So I've never taken my guard down from the Gibbs drivers and teams that are on track. They're a great organization, great crew chiefs, great drivers, and from living it on my own, it doesn't take much to be off a tenth of a second, and a tenth makes you, takes you from first to 10th. So I wasn't surprised to see Kyle win the All-Star race and then their competitiveness in the 600 itself.
Dustin?
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Two questions. Jimmy, looking back at last week with the traction compound being used for the first time on an asphalt track, what did you learn from it? And is this something moving forward can be used at other tracks, or what are the things moving forward, the lessons learned, and what's next in for the drivers and for NASCAR? And secondly, your teammate Chase, other than the All-Star race, has had an absolutely miserable month or so. Is there much that you can help him with on something like that as a guy who seems to kind of get down on himself at times?
I think he seems to be in a decent spot. I mean, there's certain racing things that drivers and teams look at and say, man, we couldn't control that, and what happened to him in the 600 was definitely one of those scenarios. And he opened the season so strong and was carrying the banner for Hendrick Motorsports. He and I haven't had any deep conversations on it other than, man, we've had some bad luck. And I expect he and that 24 team to rally back and be up front and winning, hopefully winning their first race very soon. As far as the traction compound, unless a track is willing to resurface or kind of redesign their facility, I think that the traction compound's the next thing to try. And I've said this a lot of times, the garage area has been forced to make a lot of changes to create competition or honestly parity. And it's just crazy for us to think when we have cars running the same speed, all 40 cars within such a small window of time, that we can expect any passing on the racetrack. So we need other lanes on the track to pass. We need tires that wear out to create comers and goers. So with that, I didn't see anything negative from the traction compound. We're learning, do we wish it provided more side-by-side racing? Sure. It's a tricky track in general, and I didn't see anything negative that came from it. And if a track owner and operator isn't willing to resurface and kind of redesign, then why not? I think there is something to try here, and we will figure it out if we keep playing with it and we keep trying it and develop the process.
Is that something that could work at Pocono or even Michigan in the next couple of weeks? I mean, Pocono's got the tunnel turn, which is high speed, narrow. Could that help create a second lane, or elsewhere in Pocono and Michigan the speeds are so fast? Could that help? I mean, I know Michigan gets pretty wide, but could that make it easier sooner in the race?
Yeah, and I mean, this is just an opinion from myself. I mean, the faster the track in general, the narrower the racing lane. And Charlotte is a very fast track, and when you get up to speed, the entries and exits are tight, and it's just narrow. So to go out and around at a place like Charlotte or even Pocono, there has to be such an advantage to do so. And I'm not sure that the VHT provides, or the traction compound provides that. But it tracks where you have wider transitions and more room I think that there is something there. I also feel like tracks where you can really create a big disparity from the preferred line versus the other line, and that would be more of a high wear racetrack or higher wear racetrack. At Charlotte, there's not much wear. You put VHT down on a grippy surface to start with, you're just adding a little bit more grip to a lot of grip. But if the bottom doesn't have much to start with and you reward the guys on the outside with a considerable amount of grip, then you're going to have a better chance at competitive passes and side-by-side racing. So again, it's something that we have to develop, and that's my uneducated opinion after being in this industry for 16 years at this level. But I just know if we stay with it and we can continue to evolve it, we'll find places where, sure, it doesn't work, it doesn't make any sense, and we'll find other places that it's going to make a difference. And I think Bristol's given us all a lot of hope.
We'll go next to Kelly and then to Jerry.
Kelly Crandall, Racer.com. Jimmie, everybody talks about how you can really feel the sensation of speed when you come to Dover, but I'm curious, what's that feel like when you go, I guess the feel of racing on concrete versus the feel of racing on asphalt?
The biggest thing on concrete are the expansion joints, and now they pour the concrete in those long rectangular blocks. There's a kind of a vibration through the car, or some kind of velocities in the shock and the suspension it's just a consistent feel. And I think we've all been on maybe a bridge that's concrete in a street car, and you can just feel the repetitive kind of thump of the tire as you cross over those expansion joints. So that's just the difference here. And then there are bumps in the track that are there due to car contact and the ground moving and just bumps in general. But on top of that, you have that high frequency kind of thump through the tire that the expansion joints provide.
Jerry?
Jerry Jordan, KickingTheTires.net, PRN. Jimmie, after you get done with your expected pummeling of everybody here at Dover, can you talk about next week at Pocono?
Pocono is such a unique place. We're always stuck in a engineering kind of mindset of, is it better to be faster on the straightaways or through the corners, and how you set the car's ride heights, the drag or downforce you might put in the car due to the ride heights. So we'll be there, and I know from Chad's standpoint, it's a track he's always enjoyed because he has options and he can set the car up differently. From a driver's standpoint, it's frustrating because a small loss of time through the center of the corner after you have almost a mile-long front straightaway, you can look into the stopwatch and be 5, 6, 7 tenths off and think, wow, we're really out of it. But honestly, it was just a small little thing that happened in the center of turn 3 that compounded down the front. So it is a very challenging track, unique to itself, and it's some awesome cycling roads, so I'll have fun.
Go next to Zach.
Zach Tanzretti, front stretch. Obviously, the Indy 500 last week, Fernando Alonso had a tremendous effort before his engine. You were obviously busy in Charlotte, but did you get to see his run? And just as a fellow race car driver, what do you think of his run?
Yeah, I did watch as much as I could through our kind of pre-race obligations that we had. And I guess I wasn't surprised what he did on the track, and I think he did surprise many. He did an amazing job, without a doubt. But what surprised me the most is I haven't been around him or have had a chance to see him in the media, see his interaction with others, just due to the fact that he's across the pond and across the world, racing. But his personality and the way he handled things outside of the car surprised me the most. He seems like an awesome guy. I look forward to meeting him someday. No telling where he'll be racing next year. Of course, there's plenty of rumors, but a spectacular job in the car and then certainly outside of.
Okay. Well, Jimmie, thanks for taking the time to join us today. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.